There we go. Last thing for this chapter. So, got a lot of review coming up here in the next week. I'll make myself available for some Google Meets. The first time that I will be available for help, we will do Thursday at 12:30 because I start teaching at 1 o'clock. So 12:30 to 1 on Thursday should work. So I'll post that. I had a lot of kids that say they don't have questions on things, but then they struggle on the quizzes. You struggle on a quiz, you probably had some questions. And also I looked back, and the people that did the quiz reviews are the ones that scored the highest. There wasn't any exceptions. So as we start pushing out these test reviews, it's really important. You only get one shot at this test. You need to do full effort on the reviews, get them done, be checking your work, and be asking questions. So we are looking at a test next Thursday and Friday. So enough rambling for today. Here we go. Parallel lines is a review. Parallel lines have we'll do the same slopes, right? And perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. So remember, that means that you flip them and you do the opposite sign. If it's a whole number, so let's do -7. You always put it over 1, and then you flip that fraction and do the opposite. So -7 becomes -7 over 1. Flip it to 1/7. You always have one positive. You always have one negative. So it says, here we go, write an equation, line that passes through the point, -2, 7, and is parallel to the line y equals -4x plus 1. So we're going to be circling back to this assignment as a part of our review on Friday. You're actually going to be graphing these as a part of some of your review. But anyway, remember, parallel lines have the same slope. What is my slope? My slope is -4. So I'm going to point out something that you guys did wrong on the quiz. Some of you did. Because you would get questions similar to this, and we're going to write these answers. Let's make it simple on ourselves. Let's do point slope form, PSF. And here's what some people did wrong. They would write their answer as the following. So we know that parallel have the same slope. And it doesn't tell you what form to put it in. So we're just going to do point slope form, and we're going to stop. So I just do y minus, and my y1 is right there, and there's my x1 for a minute from now. Y minus 7, and people would do the following. X minus a -2 becomes a +2. And they would say, I'm done. Well, that's not right, because we know what m is. M is -4. So don't do that. If I graphed these two lines, they would be parallel. On your assignment today, this is the equation you're going to use. I'm going to go a little further on number 2, just because it's the first day of this this lesson. First thing you have to do on these, you always have to get them into y equals mx plus b form. This one is not. So I'll move my x's to the other side, and that leaves me with -3y equals -x plus 9. And then I divide everything by -3. Notice my two negatives cancel there. That leaves me with y equals 1/3 x minus 3. So again, what is my slope? The slope I am using is 1/3. what is my point that I'm trying to make two lines. And if we graphed them, since we know that this is positive, I'm going to change my color here. You would have this line here, 1/3 x minus 3. So let's go down to -3. And I'd have a line, I don't know, whatever, going like that. All right. My second one, let me change my color again here. We'll go blue. X, that didn't go blue like I wanted it to. Oh well, we'll go yellow. I don't want yellow. Blue. Save. There we go. X1, Y1. There we go, X1, Y1 there, and my slope is already figured out. Y plus 1 equals my slope, 1/3 x minus 3. Now just to show you guys what happens, I'm going to solve this one here. On your homework, stop here. But if I did do my distributive property, I would have 1/3 x, and 1/3 of 3 is 1. And then I got y plus 1, and then I would subtract 1, and I would subtract 1, y equals 1/3 x minus 2. So you notice I have one that is 1/3 x minus 2, one that is 1/3 x minus 3. So this one here would be like right there, and it would run right next to it, just like a pair of train tracks. And let's pretend that those two lines are at, the blue crosses at -2 and the yellow crosses at -3. Those two lines would run parallel to each other and go on forever and ever and ever without crossing. But on your homework today, stop here. You would have to do this work. You wouldn't have to do that work. Moving on. Perpendicular. So same thing, we know that we already have a slope. Our slope is, let's go back to that red that I've been using. My slope is 2. So my perpendicular, you draw an upside down T. My perpendicular slope equals -1/2. So that's the point that's the slope I'm going to use. Here's my point. X1, Y1. So I'd have y minus 3 equals my perpendicular slope, -1/2 x minus 4. If I graph these, I would have one, let's do two different colors. I would have one going, here like this. And then the other one would be going the opposite way. I don't know, something like that. And I didn't check those to know if that's even close to being right. But what they would make is a plus sign. These are 90-degree angles right there. Just like a regular intersection. So that's what, when we're comparing these perpendicular lines, we have two lines that cross and make a plus. Last one. All right, this one you have to switch from standard form over. So I subtract 5x. 3y equals -5x minus 21. Divide by 3. And y equals -5/3 x minus 7. So I subtracted my 5x. We always subtract our x's first, then we divide everything by our y's. So I have a slope of a -5/3. My perpendicular slope, you flip the fraction and you do the opposite sign. Here's my perpendicular point. Okay, so if I go back to number 3 real quick, it's saying that the perpendicular one, so whatever second line I did would go through, so the one that has this point, this slope of negative 1/2, would go through the point 4, 3. So if I graphed it, I would have 4, 3 on this line, which obviously I don't just because I sketched it and just took a guess, but it would include that point. So to finish this up, I have y minus 1 equals my perpendicular slope of 3/5 times x plus 5.